Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Ho.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ho. Hari Om to everybody. A few months back, he gave us the inner prompting to become aware of the importance of Papa's sannyas in the year 1922 and how he gently prompted us that for our own sadhana we should name it as a centenary, and then under its banner we should intensely try to know the purpose of our life, to become aware of what all has been given to us by him, by prompting us to take up an in-depth study of the book In Quest of God. So on 27th of this month, day for yesterday, he facilitated everything in spite of so many uncertainties because of the pandemic caused by him all over India. Still, in a very smooth and enlivening manner, the launching session was arranged, and with the grace of Param Pujya Swami Muktananda, the centenary has begun. Every day we should try first to remember the book In Quest of God. The moment we remember the word in quest, we have to ask ourselves, are we really in quest of God? If we find we are not that intense, we would like to know, like any other thing, then we suddenly start thinking, when our Guru keeps on telling that he is all-pervading, he is in everything, he is behind everything, who is to go in quest of him? He gave us a sense of individuality. He has been providing us through Mother Nature and society whatever we need, all the requisites, all the basic things that we need. So they are also his forms. So we are his forms. The rest of the things are also his forms. In that case, how does this question, in quest of God, arises? So the word itself, the title itself, the title of the book itself is thought-provoking. Throughout that book, he was trying to make us understand that when we say in quest of something, that something is different from us, But we find here that something is not different from us. Though for touching and kindling in us to raise ourselves from the individual level, probably he used the word in quest of God. So every day morning, suppose we start thinking, I am to make an in-depth study of in quest of God. So we start dwelling upon it. Don't you think that dwelling itself will pave the way for becoming aware of what all he has given to us? No? That itself is the quest. We are not going to master the text. We have already read many a times. But now we come to know that when we are in the vyavaharic dealings, everything is another and me separate. So the me has to definitely strive to reach the other. But here we have been told that he is the first, before we enter into the first chapter, Papa tries to make this clear. We will read this. It was about 2 years ago in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. See? Infinite love, he has provided everything for us, What has not been provided to us? So, what was touched and kindled in him was a keen desire to realize his infinite love. We should stop there and start thinking. Everything that makes our life comfortable, everything that makes our life to live as a separate individual is given by him. That is his infinite love. Why do we say infinite love? Because we have not recognized at all. We have never thought about it. We have never shown any gratitude for that. We have never felt that, oh, he has given us this. But we are making use of everything that has been given to us. Please think about it. We are trying to understand the word infinite love, unconditional love, unbounded love, love absolute. There is no otherness. So, in quest of God is to become aware of his infinite love. We may fail, we may forget. This may come at the intellectual level. But let us try now. This 1 year, we are trying to hammer this word, in quest of God, in quest of God, in quest of God. Then we try to understand that he is everything. Who is there to go in quest of him? How do I understand? I am what I am because of him. Suppose for a second or two, suppose we realize this. And then start dealing with our usual way. And every day, suppose we keep on thinking about this. And then going through the text. So this background is very clear now. When we say in quest of God, God is separate and I am separate. This is a normal way of expression. God is separate, I am separate. It is true because sense of individuality is separate. And the one which motivates the body, which enlivens the body is separate. And in Bhagavad Gita he says, the body and the knower of the body. Kshetra, Kshetra. Normally this is the attitude. But when we have been told 100 times by Papa that he is the great provider, And he who trusts him is never lost. That is his quotation. He is the great provider, and he who trusts him, Trusts, is never lost. So he is infinite love because we are not aware of any of the thing. We just make use of everything, we enjoy everything, we make it a part of our life, but we hardly recognize its source, who is the giver, who is the provider. So In Quest of God book reminds us of this reality. This is how we are trying to make there could be so many such approach. Today when we just came for the satsang, this is how he prompted. Hey, look here, I have named it as In Quest of God. But no, don't think that you are separate from God. At the moment you are separate from God. Why? He explains. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel as separate individuals should submit ourselves to the will and working of that infinite power, that infinite love, Ram, who is one and all pervading. To realize this power, this great truth. What is the great truth? Ram is the only truth, the only reality. And what is Ram? Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. The air is all pervading here. But to make us feel, he prompted somebody to bring out, this fan. So that the leaves of the, what is called leaf, leaves of the fan tries to create a vacuum by driving the air. And immediately the outside air comes in. It is not producing any air. When we use the hand fan, here we are trying to remove the air, but immediately the atmospheric air rushes in. So we feel, we are getting air. Though the air is the same, not an extra quantity is produced. So we start thinking at each and everything like that. You are there. But in order to know that you are there, something should be done. Some kindling, some touching. That we can call it as inquest. Suppose we say inquest of the air, which we are getting now because of the fan. Finally, where will we land? All that the leaves do only to kindle, to create a vacuum. And in the shortest possible time, the air comes in. And we feel we are getting breeze. The moment it is switched off, we feel the sultry. So he has provided everything. We as separate individuals, so we have to do some thinking about it. These words. We are separate individuals through ignorance. So that is why he said in the first line, Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. Not to attain him, to realize his infinite love. So we are praying, why don't you make us to realize? He did lot of tapasya. Are we to do the same thing? No, even if we wish, we can't. So we have to devise some method. But at least let us be very clear that what is to be realized. So the first article before the chapter begins throws some light on this. So before we take up in quest of God, chapter by chapter, today he is suggesting us concentrate on the first lead article. O Ram, the truth, the love, the goal of human perfection, all hail, all hail. We will again read. It was about 2 years ago in 1920 that Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. That is the beginning. To realize his infinite love, not in search of him. To strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing forms, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. Birthless and deathless is he. He is present in all things and in all creatures, who only appear as separate entities due to their ever-changing forms. Another clue for all of us. Ever-changing forms. That is why we find the diversity, First there are different species like human kingdom, animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and so-called labeled inert and insentient kingdom, like stones, parvat, unmoving. And then again, even in each segment, there are different types. Men are totally diverse from each other. Different types of animals, different types of insects, different types of creatures, different types of trees, different types of plants, different types of labeled inert, instant, unmoving materials. So according to this, the ever-changing forms. Only the human being is given the privilege of knowing all these things. That is why Shankaracharya, in his Vivek Chudamani says this. Durlabham trayame vetat, This is a rare privilege for all of us. To know all these truths, to realize this infinite love, to realize the great cause behind all the varied forms. Only the human being can understand, realize this. Nobody else can, no other species can. So having got this, so first stage we have won. The second stage is we are drawn by a teacher who has realized and who is telling us to realize. That is the second point we have covered. Third thing is he has given us a methodology which we are trying, but we are not exclusively trying or intensely trying. So if you first thank, you gave us a human, this infinite love, we start with, you gave us a human body. You gave us a mind intellect equipment. Then you drew us to a spiritual preceptor who, having scaled, revealed to us what exactly is the purpose of this life. And just because we were not hearing or intensely applying, he did not deny us anything. Infinite love we are trying to understand. Papa said that you should remember him constantly. We did not. Papa said you should surrender to him. We did not. Papa said accept everything cheerfully. We did not. But in spite of all these things, he did not deny us anything. Whatever is needed for our basic requirement, whatever is needed for a comfortable life, he has been providing. He never made us known that we are not responsive to his existence. Because we know 99% of our waking time we don't recognize him, the plain truth. Only we as an individual are there. But still he has not denied anything to us. So at the end of the day or during the day or early in the morning, suppose we think about him, probably that might help us. We might be able to understand the word infinite love. A keen desire to realize his infinite love. To wake up from this illusion of forms is to realize at once the unity or love of Ram. Love of Ram means love of all beings, all creatures, all things in the world, because Ram is in all is in Ram, Ram is all in all. To realize this great truth, we who through ignorance feel as separate individuals should submit ourselves to the will and working of the infinite power, the infinite love, Ram, who is the one, all pervading. By a complete surrender to the will of Ram, we lose consciousness of the body, which keeps us aloof from him. Another point, we are not fully body conscious, which is the truth. So we cannot be away from the body consciousness. Right from the we get up in the morning means what? We become body conscious. When we say we have sound sleep, what does it mean? We lose the body consciousness. So throughout the waking time, body consciousness is there. That is why we are struggling to understand this reality. So the body consciousness itself should know that it owes its origin to Ram, that mysterious power. That means we are not negating anything. What is it that makes us to know that we are the beingness? During the waking time, nobody need to tell us that we are sitting in this room now. So though we are unable to free ourselves from the body consciousness, with the body consciousness we are trying to understand that which is responsible for even this body consciousness. So he says here, we lose consciousness of the body which keeps us aloof from him and find ourselves in a state of complete identification, union with Ram, who is in us and everywhere around us. In this condition, hatred, which means consciousness of diversity, ceases, and love, consciousness of unity, is realized. So love is also defined here. Consciousness of unity, oneness. This divine love can be attained by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. Our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. That means without that I don't exist. Without that power, without that mysterious power, I do not exist. So Papa says, by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence, then only this divine love, the unity, infinite love of Ram can be attained. Having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity or love, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures, who are all manifestations of the same Ram. He gives us some tips now. How do we know we are progressing? Whether it is me to me or me to we. Having reached this stage, we, by the awakened consciousness of unity or love, are naturally prompted to sacrifice all the interests that concern the body for the welfare of our fellow men and fellow creatures, who are all manifestations of the same Ram. This was the great sacrifice of Buddha, of Jesus Christ, and has been of Mahatma Gandhi in our own time. These three great men are the fullest manifestations of Ram, the great truth, the infinite love, Om Shri Ram. So this is how he makes us to begin the in-depth study of this book. Infinite love. Intellectually, we try to understand we are not separate individuals. We are in part and parcel of the stupendous whole. How do we make ourselves realize this? That can be called as in quest of God. The sense of individuality which feels separate tries to realize the power because of which it exists. It is termed as in quest of God. Not the other way, that God is separate and I am separate. Then I come to realize that I am also part and parcel of Him. And from the intellectual acceptance, how do we know we are moving towards that? Then he says we will be in all our thoughts and words and deeds, the dominance of me and mine will become reduced, and me to we become predominant. The quality, care and concern for the rest of the creation becomes more and more important for us. Not that we completely lose ourselves, but instead of now 100 me to me and 1 me to we, it can be 99 me to me and 1, 98 and 2, like that we can try. So that at the end, 37th chapter yesterday we read, we will feel that, serenity, the calmness, silence, serenity, stillness, quietude. These are some of the, expressions. Every time we have to keep on reminding ourselves. Are we moving toward that? Are we trying to realize this? Silence, peace, serenity, calmness, quietude, equanimity, fullness, contented state. Because yesterday he reminded us that we started with a stressful life, but ended in a serene life. So every day we have to try this, Every day at the end of the day or somewhere, have I been able to get a glimpse of that quietude, that serenity, the stillness within, the peace, any name we give, fullness, contented. Any other word?
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction, okay. Purity. Because we are talking, we have to understand it through our own language, not in somebody's language. These are all the external words, only help us to know this. But our own language should be there. That means our own feeling. Contentment is there. Fullness. Oneness. Sense of fulfillment. Sense of fulfillment, yeah. Purnam.
Stillness, it says. Stillness.
Stillness is there. Okay. We try to bring out those words so that we can relate. Not that we want to bring so many words from the dictionary. What exactly what is it that makes us joyful? What is it that makes us full? That particular feeling, we try to put it in our own words. So he said serenity, it's a beautiful word. Serene, the moment we hear serene, what touches and kindles in us?
I want nothing.
Nothing more.
That is contentment.
Try in your own way, There is nothing wrong. Nothing wrong in any expression. This is right, this is wrong, no. Because ultimately everything comes out from that base only. When we come to know, when we are trying to express that form, that base, naturally, the words will be in line with that.
Sense of gratitude.
Anything. What is it that I feel when I say sense of gratitude? That is important, that's all. Forget about the dictionary meaning. What wells up in my mind at that time? He helped. What happened then? And God is parading before us to know this. He is teaching us the language. Not through text, not through colleges, schools, but through our very experience. For example, we remember in 1884 we met with a serious accident. We were going in a motorbike. The jeep came on the wrong side and there was a
Head-on collision.
direct clash. We were thrown out. One person, we thought nothing had happened, but then we knew blood is oozing from the leg and we can't raise this. Some unknown person immediately ran. One car came, that jeep which was responsible, he immediately stopped. Then they helped us to get into that jeep. Then we found alcohol smell from the driver. So we told him, please stop. Don't do it hereafter. Immediately there was a car coming, an ambassador car, known to us. He immediately said, what happened? I said, I think this is fracture. Immediately he said, you come here. So I was taken to that car. He took us to the nearest hospital. Everybody came there. We told the jeep wala to immediately go away. And then some plastering was, he said, major fracture. Multiple fracture in leg and hand. So you have to be taken to another hospital. Immediately so many people came and then we were taken to the hospital in Calcutta. We knew the surgeon. The surgeon immediately came. He said, first of all, we will go to the X-ray room. Then he said, this is okay. Leg, you will have to be in plaster, but this is nasty. Can't do anything now. Anyway, we were admitted. Now we are just looking. What prompted that stranger to come forward and lift us up, Even after so many years now, 38 years back, what had happened, Still that face is fresh in our memory. Next day morning, he came to this hospital which is about 10 kilometers away from his house. We did not realize him first because he was a stranger. Then we had just recovered from all this thing, anesthesia. And we asked him, yes, we were in plaster. Can't move. So he looked at us and said, Pengani design. We said, where are you from? It was I who lifted yesterday. Oh, sorry. What is it that prompted him to do that? Oneness, you said. Oneness. Absolutely a stranger. All of them were strangers. Later on, known people came and did so many things. That's another thing. Unknown people. So that means God is making us to realize this oneness, this serenity, this quietude, this fullness, this sense of fulfillment, so many things which we have now listed before us to learn, not from a text, not from any other shastras, but from our own life. In Quest of God is nothing but a series of anecdotes. Through anecdotes, this wonderful idea is conveyed to us. So we try to bring in our own life experience and try to understand, so that we know the meaning direct. Oneness, if we give a lecture, it will be difficult. But when you have experienced that oneness by somebody and you recognize that oneness in him, zero expectation, mind you. Infinite love. So this is probably Papa is guiding us. This is how you try to plumb deep within, parade your own life experience, and see that the inherent, the intrinsic core of your being comes out, touches and kindles in others, and you find there is the love begets love, he says, The love of the stranger touched the love in us, and we become aware of the love. We become aware of the infinite love, unconditional love for love's sake, which is called oneness, which is called fullness, which is called connectivity, yeah. Yes, connectivity. Think. So we are now trying to start this, in-depth study. So we parade our own experience, because that is the best language and the best dictionary through which we can understand all these words. Not through any other external factors. Because this is something which, he made you to go through. Parade before you and try to find out this one word, infinite love. When you committed mistake, when you committed blunders, when you offended others, and when you realize what happened in you. What a joy you then got when you said sorry, somebody. Unknowingly or knowingly you have offended somebody, and when you go there and apologize, it was a slip of the tongue, you never meant it. And what a joy! What is it? Again, oneness. The absence of otherness, separateness, whenever it is bridged, whenever the separateness is bridged, whenever the absence of separateness is realized, there comes a feeling, a present feeling wells up. What is that? That is at the core of our being, infinite love. So this 1 year, 365 days before us. 364, 1 day is gone. 364 days, let us try to pick out one or two experiences from our own and try to understand, travel through the chapter and then try to understand, this is that, this is that, this is that. What is infinite love? Let it be very clear to us. We are trying to realize the infinite love. First word. Ram first kindled in the heart of his humble slave Ramdas a keen desire to realize his infinite love. This is the first line in the In Quest of God book, after the publisher's article, introduction. Words of Papa started with this. Many of us would not have applied our mind on this particular, we would have straight away gone to the first chapter. So now he is drawing our attention. Before you go to the first chapter, you be clear. What are we in for? We are to realize his infinite love. Papa is narrating his. We are also trying to travel with Papa to realize the infinite love. Initially, as Vinobaji says, we will try to bring all positive incidents in our life. Easy for us to understand. Whenever we were in distress, somebody gave us a soothing hand, a sense of feeling, a sense of sharing, a sense of inspiring. So many things have happened in our life. All those positive things we will try to parade, and later on we will come to know that whether it is positive or negative, everything has come from him. That as we advance on the text, we will find there is nothing called negative. Everything is positive. Papa keeps on narrating it through various anecdotes. So then we tally with our own life. So our life should be there first. This in-depth study of inquest of God means we are placing our life and trying to understand the infinite love given, He has been giving, about which I was not aware. I have not been aware of so far. He has been pouring His infinite love, but I have not been aware of this. Out of His mercy for us, out of His kindness for us, out of His quality, care and concern for us, through the book of Inquest of God, through our spiritual preceptor Param Pujya Venerable Papa, He is trying to touch and kindle this infinite love that He has been pouring on us. This is the quintessence of Inquest of God. Is it becoming clearer?
Yes.
So now when we chant, we will also bring this dimension. Kindly enable me to realize your infinite love. We are, just as we are placing our flower at your holy feet, every nam we are placing at your holy feet. Please make us aware of the infinite love you have been showering on me. About which I was not at all aware. I have never cared to know. Outwardly I may be doing something, but I have never felt, oh, it is you who has given me this. Because he says, the self-assertion. This divine love can be attained by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. When we enter the room of Pujya Swamiji's, you will find one quotation there. He mentioned this. Can somebody go and... Not inside, outside, as you enter. The second one. He says about that positive assertion. You must leave your assertion. Every day, and when we see that, Swamiji was a personification of that. So he has got the authority to say, it is not a textual Shastric declaration. It was an experiential revelation.
There must be mutual love and regard, and also respect to one another. It means a lot of give and take must be there. One minute. It means wherever there is a conflict, humble down, give up your assertion.
Authority and assertion.
Authority and assertion.
And try to accept the other party.
Try to accept the other party's viewpoint. And try to solve the problems. She brought it. Swamiji, read it, Swamiji. You read.
There must be, we are trying to understand this word, The divine love can be attained by humbling ourselves to such a degree as to totally subdue our egoism, our self-assertion as a separate individual existence. So here Pujya Swamiji says, there must be mutual love and regard and also respect to one another. It means a lot of give and take must be there. Again, that means where there is a conflict, humble down, Give up your authority or assertion, power, status, all these authority. Give up your authority and assertion and try to accept the other party's viewpoint and try to solve the problem. So a technique is also given to subdue our egoism. He will give us testing moment. We are 100% convinced that this is right. Somebody does exactly opposite to that. Naturally we will resist, revolt. So he says, immediately we should know, no, the same principle is there in him also. The one which makes you to feel right is the same thing is there also. So he has been given a different right. You have been given a different right. You have been given a different wrong. He has been given a different wrong. So you can express, this is what we feel. And we will try to find a method, mutual love and respect. Again, no, let us not be guided by the words. Let us bring before us our own experience, where God has taught us this. We would have committed blunders and we would have offended others, knowingly or unknowingly. Then somebody, suppose when we read this in a passive mood, in a sattvic atmosphere, oh, I shouldn't have told like that. And I try to, my ego will not permit and go and apologize. But I will somehow see that it is repaired. No? By compensating through some other loving act. Bring all those things before. So this is an evaluation of our own life. In quest of God means it is not a textual study. It is refining ourselves by going through it with a different approach. Because God who is seated within gave us a long rope. Even to commit blunders he permitted. Even to assert absolute individuality. I am the sole sovereign power. No? Still he did not come and say, keep quiet, you are nothing. He allowed us to play like that. Now we all realize that. So this exercise should bring, we don't say Papa's life, we bring our own life. Daily we spend about 5 to 10 minutes, Then when we travel with the chapters, we will be able to really understand, oh, this is in quest of God. This is the real quest. This is the real effort to realize His infinite love. Otherwise, again, it might be an intellectual exercise. So let us all pray to Him. You are slowly taking us in. Make us to remember how you came to our rescue through through inner prompting as well as through outer factors. One person used to say that money is the only contributory factor for one's happiness. So whenever we say, what will you do when this happened, that happened, this happened, he said, with money we can do that. Money can do that. So we used to say, we feel that money is one among the contributory factors for our happiness. We are not belittling the importance of money. Money is one among the contributory factors, not alone. That is what at the moment we feel. So years passed. God made him to go through so many trying experiences. One day when we met him, it came, now we remember our argument, you remember? 20, 30 years back. On one night, vehemently arguing. Now we realize that money is one of the contributory, not the only contributory. Acha, okay. Now we did not realize then. But now when he parades before us, he says you are not belittling the importance of money. Money is also a gift of him. But at the same time, money as an external factor cannot be the only contributory factor. Money as, now in ashram we are dealing with money. Many people give their offering. That offering goes back to many deserving people, many deserving segments. We realize its true value. Every rupee that is given, we feel it should be judiciously spent, in the sense it should reach out to the deserving hands. So money has got value. So we don't think money as a separate one. Money is one of the aids through which we can reach out to others. And God gives us. God has selected us. God has chosen us to become the conduit pipe from A to B. He makes A to give, and He makes B to receive from us, and we are the privileged ones to become the conduit pipe. So that dialogue, at that time, we said, probably he would have realized that's all. But now when we take up inquest of God, that dialogue again comes to us. It gives a new meaning for us. So nothing is unimportant, nothing is irrelevant, nothing is insignificant. Everything has got a place in its own. But when we bring the God dimension, He chose us. He gave us the field. He gave us the inner prompting. He provides us the wherewithal. Everything is done by Him. Oh. In order to realize that, I gave you that experience. That is how He says. So the sum and substance of today's sharing is this. In quest of God, when we take up every day, at least we will spend about 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, that the purpose is to realize the infinite love. He has been showering about which we were not aware. And the stumbling block is the me and mine, and we try somehow. It's very difficult to control, very difficult to tame, but still we know that we have to tame. So every day when we enter into Pujya Swamiji's room here, we try to go through the room. Today have you crossed the limit? As if Swamiji is asking. Did you assert? Did you want to give thrust to your rights and wrongs? Or you are submitting to the will of Ram? Sorry Swamiji, we failed yesterday. Okay, try tomorrow. So, in quest of God means the journey is very, very interesting now. So let us all try to make use of it in the best possible manner. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari